Welcome to the podcast with wings, the TABtouch Greyhound Jet Set. Strap yourselves in while host David Shortte and the Shayne Train Williams take you on a flight around the country, sourcing winners and the latest news on the big two meetings in WA as well as the Meadows and Wentworth Park. The boys will be joined by East Coast experts Jaycin Campbell and Corey Smith. We'll pass on mail from some of WA's top kennels and get to know our industry members. You're at the pointy end of the plane for this week's edition of the TABtouch Greyhound Jet Set.
Hello and welcome along to the TABtouch Greyhound Jet Set podcast for another week. David Shortte and the Shayne Train Williams back from Sydney town, only just in one piece train. Welcome.
Yeah, welcome, Shorty. Good morning, everyone, and everyone listening out there. I'm still struggling, Shorty. I've got to be honest. It's I haven't come down yet from that massive weekend that we had and the sleep patterns all over the joint. And, I think it's going to still take another couple of days to get over it, mate.
Don't disagree. It's been a challenging few days since returning home, but was a lot of fun. And we'd just like to thank all of our touring partners that we had a lot of fun with across in Sydney town, and everyone in New South Wales made the experience so much fun. Wentworth Park on Friday night for the $1 Million Chase was a lead, and then, of course, out to Randwick for the Everest, and they came with big hype, both of those events, but I thought they passed with flying colours.
They certainly did. The Everest is a bucket list for anyone that hasn't been. It's a very eye-opening event. And like you said earlier, Shorty, it's not just a racehorse meeting, it's an actual event that a lot of people go to see, obviously, the fast horses, but obviously the aftermath after the after party and stuff like that. There was a world-class DJ there. But just quickly, Shorty, before we get into what caught our eye, I just wanted to touch on that touring party that you mentioned. It was obviously the first time I'd met some of these fellas, and they're some of the best blokes I've ever met in my life, Shorty, and that's saying something from only meeting him for the first time. We'll touch on Clay first. We obviously know Clay. He was a good member of the touring party, Shorty. He organised the tickets for the races on Saturday, and as we've already discussed, if we probably weren't up in the members, it probably might not have been a good enough day as it was.
Oh, the actual experience to be behind the glass in the members and then the wonderful seats was great. And Clay, of course, has been involved in a bunch of greyhounds with me over the years. He's a great friend, and he was a very valuable member. And then there were a bunch of my ex-cricket mates from Freo, so Sammy Collins, also to Mel O'Neill-King, Crozza, Joel Croswell. Those three guys in particular were great. And then we had the three Kiwis, Chris Fenner, also the male model, Greggy. Oh my goodness! He have fillies chasing him right, left, and centre. He was the man that was most in demand amongst our touring party, and the comedian of the tour, and a man that kept us all in stitches. Gilby, he was quite a character, and he's demanded a shout out on the program. So Gilbs, this is the shout out, and we look forward to having you on board for the podcast week in, week out, heading forward.
Yeah, we're just touching on it, Shorty. Kingy, he was a great man. Met him first of all at the Coogee Bay Hotel in the afternoon. He came to the rescue of the male model Greg when he was in a bit of spot of bother. He went to the 7-Eleven and got him some water to make him come good. And then Sammy was a legend, Shorty. He went down Sunday morning and got the seats for the boxing. The Tim Zoo fight didn't go our way, but Sammy was holding fort there with 8 seats, not letting anyone steal them. Crozza, he was the organiser of the crew, Shorty. He's made sure all the events went on time and schedule, organised everything. Such a good fella. And then them 3 Kiwis walked in Friday night to that room. It was like the All Blacks. Fenners was a bit like Cuzzy bro Michael Walker. He had that look on him, and very good man, Fenners. And male model Greg, we caught up with him. I was actually having a kebab with him late in the piece Sunday night outside the Coogee Bay Hotel, and then none other. I'll leave him to last. Group 1 Gilby, last seen at the 7-Eleven trying to get some 7-day-old banana bread.
Elite work. Wonderful group of guys. And look, if you're tuned in and you've always thought that this is a weekend that you'd love to get along to, I'll sign off on it 100 out of 100. It was so much fun. Where we stayed too, a big thanks to the team at the Coogee Bay Hotel. The facilities there are just first class. I think our sleeping patterns, for one, aren't great there because it closes for 1 hour a day, I think, out of the 24, and our producer that does an incredible incredible job. The K-Man said, what about those poor lonely taps for that 1 hour a week that they're turned off? It is just a place. It's 24/7. It's all go. It's a wonderful time. The events were amazing. The WA Dogs did really well as well. That's caught my eye on the Friday night. Well done to Crystal Shinners and Steve Shinners. Of course, Dave Hobby with Sunset Fraser running third in the $1 Million Chase. And the week before, Bezecchi was the dog that lit the place up with that incredible run. So well done to all the Sandgropers. Every second year, we're going to ink it in Traino. So this time in a couple of years from now, we'll be heading back over to terrorise Sydney town.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Great fellas, and thanks again. It made me welcome to your circle of friends, Shorty, and I had the best time of my life. So thank you very much, boys, and tune in and back some winners from now on in.
Indeed. Welcome, members of our Jet Set family heading forward. Alrighty, punters, let's roll up the sleeves and get down to business. We do have Mandurah Friday night to look at and find some winners there. Train. We will kick off with your thoughts for a busy Friday night of chasing down there at the Coastal Circuit.
Yeah, I'm going to kick it off. Race 6, number 3, Aston Bollinger, Shorty. It's unbeaten since it's arrived from Mexico. Stepped up to the 488-metre trip last week and was too slippery, leading all the way from this very box. Very quick early split of 561 last week. So I think it's just a dose of rinse and repeat, Shorty, from last week, and you can go coast to coast tonight. Cody Charles in form as well. So race 6, number 3, Aston Bollinger to kick us off. I've gone over then to race 8, number 4, West on Miley. Just thought I found a race here with not a lot of early speed, and on her night she can spear the lids. We've seen that 2 or 3 starts back when she led all the way from a middle box draw there. We needed to do that tonight as well. And I just thought the dog in box 1, he's boxed upside down. So if she can get the fly West on Miley, Sunset Blackhawk can be sort of getting up the track, going around that first turn and causing a bit of trouble behind her, and she can get left a long way in front. So West on Miley, my second tip there. And then race 11, number 4, encourage punters not to have a very large bet in this race because it's going to be a very tricky race. We've got the likes of the Rogue in box 2, Shorty. He's coming off 2 Stewards trials and now he's wearing blinkers. But Love We Shared in box 3, he crashes hard to the fence. So I just thought Play the Music might get the opportunity to roll forward here, and it was $11. I think it's been snipped into about 7. So I'm happy to play each way, Shorty, but not a lot of confidence in a race when Stranger Within's in it, and it can do some nasty things at times. But I just thought the way this map looks, Play the Music can get a good run out in front, hopefully, while 2 and 3 are sort of buffeting, and who knows what Stranger Within's going to do. So my 3 plays tonight are race 6, number 3, Aston Bollinger. That'll be the best of them. Race 8, number 4, West on Miley, and race 11, number 4, Play the Music on an each way basis, Shorty.
All right, there we have it. The thoughts of the train on Friday night. For me, we'll kick off with Ryan Levitsky, race 7, number 6, Window Shopper, stayer that'll get back and charge home. Race 9, number 1, Impress Canelo. Greyhound drawn well for Cosy D'Agostino, coming off a placing last time out. In race 11, number 8, Aussie Gem. He's a ticky machine, likely to hit the frame once again. Jesse Earnshaw, his thoughts for a Friday night. He's keen on the prospects of race 5, number 1, Curious Georgia. Race 6, number 3, Aston Bollinger. And he also thought that Weston Kaiser would be hard to beat, race 7, number 2, and Little Bit Twisted, race 8, number 8. So they're the thoughts of Jesse Earnshaw. And for me, I'll go with race 5, number 1, Curious George. It's been good to us over the last fortnight. The man to my left doing a good job looking after this girl. 400 metres is right up her alley. Race 6, number 3, Aston Bollinger. Last 2 wins have been very impressive. And race 7, number 4, Ditalini Manelli to get the job done. The dog they named after the pasta. Well, let's hope that it's getting the job done and whacking up our carb level after race number 7. Tonight they're at Mandurah in recap, 5-1, 6-3 and 7-4. I have, of course, charged with coming up with a quaddie play on the Friday night. This is what it looks like. Leg 1, numbers 1 and 7. Leg 2, numbers 3, 4, 5 and 7. Leg 3, numbers 1, 2 and 4. And the final leg, numbers 2, 4, 5, 7 and 8. They are the thoughts of D Short for this Friday night. 1, 7, 3, 4, 5, 7, 1, 2, 4, 2, 4, 5, 7 and 8. Outside of those, roving banker play for me tonight in the Great Western Final. Race 4, I'm roving number 3, and that is Beau Cruz. At the each way odds, Beau Cruz, I think win, lose or draw, will be running top 4. And in a very open race, I think that looks a pretty nice way to play it. And also, race 3, number 4, Infrared Gem. It is another dog that just runs placings for fun. So for me, on the night, race 4, number 3, Beau Cruz, and race 3, number 4, Infrared Gem are my 2 rovers to go along with that quaddie. And I also have my roughie of the weekend that's going around. It's been a bit of a regular for me on the way through. It's race 11, number 7, Liberty Star. Stick with this dog, punters. It'll be nicking one soon at a big price. So Rovers 3443, Roughie 117, and we've given you that quaddie. They're my thoughts for Friday night. Train, have you got anything to add to your 3 key plays?
Yeah, my roughie of the night, Shorty, is in the Great Western Final, race 4, number 6, Another James. I was actually stunned to see him go up $10 or $11. So it's not one of the dogs. I mentioned it yesterday on Great Greys in Bunny's Dogs. I can't catch him, but and then price, Shorty, I'm happy to have a little play. Race 4, number 6, Another James. And my rover for Friday, race 11, number 8, Aussie Gem. I think you mentioned it this morning, Shorty. He's missed the place once out of 14 starts, and that was a 4th place. So he loves hitting the frame. Aussie Gem, race 11, number 8.
Beautifully done. That is Friday night. Mandurah, the thoughts taken care of our team there. We'll quickly switch our focus to Mandurah on Saturday night. Have a look at the bumper program there. One of the biggest races of the year, the Group 2 All-Stars final. It's a beauty as well. We've got some very, very talented sprinters strutting their stuff. A couple of Mandurah specialists that are very well suited by the venue being Mandurah this year as well. Shane, we'll kick off with you and your key plays. Take us through your keys for Saturday night there at the Coastal Circuit on Group 2 All-Stars night.
Yeah, I'm going to kick it off, Shorty. Race 4, number 2, Impress Wilder, trained by Natalie Marshall, and she's done a great job with this dog since it's arrived from the Sunshine State, Shorty. Absolutely airborne. He won his maiden by the length of the straight, and then he backed up and ran second behind a very smart one last time, and I thought his run was really good last start in defeat. Draws in again tonight, will roll forward, and gets any luck through that first turn, Shorty, it'd be hard to beat for Natalie Marshall. Race 4, number 2, Impress Wilder. We'll go over to the very next race, race 5, number 7, Tilly Rose. Fresh off feature success in the Spring Maiden Classic for the Chili Man. We see her tonight in this City Novice. I like her drawn wide, as she does like to scout a bit wide in her races. Got good early speed, Short, and she'd be full of confidence after them back-to-back wins. And I think she can go much quicker on the clock tonight as well. Race 5, number 7, Tilly Rose. And then race 7, number 8, Solid Tank, knocking on the door of late. I think this race could get quite messy, Shorty, with Esperance Ace in box 1 wanting to get up the track. Could get a little ugly for them dogs around it, and one of them's the favourite. And I just thought Solid Tank could be swooping out wide, minding its own business, and it does have a good record from wide draws, Shorty. So the 3 tips for Saturday night. Race 4, number 2, Impress Wilder, the best bet for Natalie Marshall. Race 5, number 7, Tilly Rose for the Chili Man. And race 7, number 8, Solid Tank for Margaret Heppel.
Beautifully done there. The thoughts there of our man, the Shane Train, for Saturday night at Mandurah. We then have, of course, Ryan Levitsky chiming in along with Jesse for their key plays on Saturday night. And Peter O'Neill has been good enough, along with Ryan, to forward on. Rhino this morning had reading duties at school, Train.
Reading duties? What was he reading?
Thinking...
Fairy tales.
Where's Wally? Those
Golden
sorts
books.
of things. He's got a young family, so I'd be thinking that that was what would have been keeping him pretty busy this morning. And it's been good enough to send through his best though. Race 3, number 4, and that is Bungee Man. Race 6, number 4, Zipping Lewick, and race 12, Numero Uno, number 1 for the punters there. That is Transcendent. So 3, 4, 6, 4, 12, 1. For Ryan Levitsky this evening, and good luck to Ryan. I hope he got through the Where's Wally.
That's Saturday night.
Saturday night, that's correct. We're on to Saturday night because you've just given us your key plays there. And Jesse Earnshaw, Saturday night. Didn't you like those numbers?
No, I thought you had said Friday night. My apologies.
Yeah, no, that's okay. This morning, though, we missed him on the way through.
Yep.
Jesse Earnshaw, his key plays for tonight. He is liking the prospects of number 2, Impress Wilder. That's a pretty... popular
He
pick.
owns the dog, doesn't he? Does he own the dog?
Does, indeed. Good push.
Yeah. Nice dog.
It is a nice dog. Former Queenslander. Race 6. The Floss, Blessed Doll, to bring up its first win in 35 starts. That's a gutsy tip. And he rounds it out with Shy Emoji race 8, number 5. So good luck to Jesse tonight with those. My key plays of race 3, number 1, Emerald Guard. I'm sticking with the dog that's drawn beautifully in the All-Star Sprint Final. Fastest qualifier from last week. Wide runner in 2. Just needs to run to what it did last week to be very hard to beat. Race 4, number 2, Impress Wilder. Again, gets another mention. And race 12, number 1, Transcendent. We saw this dog at Wentworth Park last Saturday night. Or Friday night, pardon me, and it was a very, very impressive winner. Moves to box 1. Be very hard to beat. 3-1, 4-2, 12-1. Looks pretty good multi-business to me. Train, you've got a quaddie for us Saturday night?
Yeah, got a quaddie Saturday night. Shorty, first leg 2, 5, 7. Second leg 4 and 5. Third leg 2, 3, 4, 6, 8. And then the final leg 2, 3, 4, 5, and 8. That's 150 for a unit, Shorty.
Alrighty, so 150 for you. You got any roughies or rovers Saturday night?
Oh, my rover Saturday night is race 8, number 8, Starlight Panama. I have the dog in box 7 who will spear the lids and roll forward and could possibly give this dog a good card over Starlight Panama, race 8, number 8.
All right, 8 Starlight Panama for the train. For yours truly there on Saturday night. I thought that Blessed Dole looked a really good banker to run second or third in that race, and there's a few that probably can't win, but it's a messy race, and I didn't want to be betting straight out in the race, so it's been very reliable to run second and third of late, so that's kind of how I'll play that particular race. And outside of that, I didn't think there was a lot else there that stood out from a novelty perspective for Saturday night. That brings to a close our thoughts for Saturday night. Mandra, good luck if you're having a punt.
It's a busy weekend of chasing in New South Wales. Joining the boys to help find you the winners, it's the one and only Jaycin Campbell.
Time to head to Sydney Town. The man that was very good to us as visitors in his hometown last week is indeed Jaycin Campbell. Hello, JC.
Hey, Train. Hey, Shorty. How are you both going, boys? How'd you pull up?
Or still getting to that part. We've been certainly doing our best to adjust back into the normality of the work week across here in WA, but mainly because we had such a wonderful time in your backyard. A big thank you to your good self and your fellow New South Wales competitors that were good enough to open the doors up. We had a great time and I really enjoyed our Thursday and Friday nights with you.
Yeah, well, it sounds like everyone had a pretty good weekend. I didn't really hear too much negative feedback over the weekend. There was one bloke on a Facebook forum that said it was silly to have the MDC be upstaged by the Everest, but I couldn't disagree anymore, to be honest. I think it just makes that weekend even better. You obviously get people coming from interstate to go to the Everest, and while they're here, they might as well check out the Greyhounds if they're not massive supporters and fans like we are. But I thought it was a great night out at Wentworth Park. I enjoyed Randwick on Saturday. Plenty of talent out there, as we both know. I took one of my mates for the first time, and I said, "This would be better than any nightclub you ever go to." And he looked at me about 20 minutes in and gave me a nod. And I said, "That's my day's done. I don't care if I back a winner," which I didn't. It was a strip out on Saturday, but hopefully you guys had a better luck on that Saturday.
Yeah, well, I don't know what's hurting more, my head or my ribs from all the laughter, but getting back to the Facebook quote, well, that's a bit harsh because it was a record crowd there and it was a record turnover. So I don't know what else they can put that event on. So probably should look at the facts before making statements like that.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw the same thing, but as soon as I saw that, I'm not one to normally comment negative things. I didn't really comment anything negative, but I just said, open your eyes up, my friend, because you've completely missed the big picture of the whole weekend. And per that Greyhound Recorder articles, an absolute fill up for everyone involved.
Yeah, it was a great time. We'll be back, JC. You can book us in for a couple of years from now and we'll do it all over again. I look forward to your company when we do that. Let's rip into this Wentworth Park program. It's a little bit of a letdown, I'm not going to lie, obviously coming off last Friday, but nonetheless, we've got 10 races. There's 10 winners to be found. Take us through your key plays.
Yes, steady. Bit of second-up syndrome at the new trip, I would say. But we'll go to race 10 first. I think this is the race of the night. You're going to have to wait till 10:14 if you're on the eastern side of the country, or 7:14 for you blokes over there. Race 10, number 1, Adhana Rico. 4 of the 5 runners here were in last week's Masters Meteor race, and Adhana Rico got the better of the likes of Anglin Luai, Showman Jack, and Deadly Class. I think he can do so once again. Box 1's obviously a massive tick. He has the speed to hold out the likes of Anglin Luai. I think Deadly Class is the biggest threat in this race, but he does want to get back to the rails. He should be extremely hard to hold out.
All right, so he just dropped out a little on us there the last little bit, but we got the gist of it. It's race 10, number 1, Adana Rico. Number 7, Deadly Class is the biggest threat. Move on now to your value play on the program.
Yes, well, some people tell me morals, not novels, JC, and I do like to go on and give a bit of conviction into why I like these dogs. But anyway, race 1, number 8, Witty Ethics. She's a nice young bitch. She's gone through the grades on the one-turn tracks. Time to show up now on the city track, boys. I think she will be extremely hard to beat. It's a very shallow race. I don't think anything in this race has really made much of an impression. A lot of these dogs have struggled to break 30 seconds in their long history here. I think she's just a bitch on the way up. She's run 22-2 at Bulli, which is absolutely flying, a bit like a 22-2 Mandra run going to the city for the first time, 5:20 in Cunnington. You just like to see him out in the arm and hopefully clocking some quick enough sections. So I think race 1, number 8 can give us a good sight at odds.
Floss in race 1, Witty Ethics, a value play. On to the Rover.
Race 6, number 2, Player 1, won in really fast time last week. Personal best, 29.58. She's building a very nice record here, having hit the frame in 10 of her 17 starts. I think she's drawn to get a really nice drop on both dogs drawn either side of her that should contest the lead. I do understand that there's no third dividend here, but I think she will be running top 2 at the very worst.
All right, so we'll rove race 6, number 2, Player 1. Anybody that's been a video machine addict from years gone by would always try and team up with a mate, see if we go Player 1 or Player 2 on the old Gallagher back in the day, on the old sit top. They were always a bit of fun. On to the quaddie. Take us through 5, 6, 7 and 8. Your numbers there for the quaddie on Saturday night, please, JC.
Yes, leg 1, I've gone 1 and 4. Leg 2, I've gone 1, 2, 6. Leg 3, I've gone 4 and 7. And leg 4, I've gone 4 and 8.
All right, in recap, 1, 4, 1, 2, 6, 4, 7, 4, 8. That's 2 twos or 4 twos. $324 for a full unit. If you're looking to get involved there, 1, 4, 1, 2, 6, 4, 7, 4, 8. And the very best of the weekend, and I can let our listeners know, Train got his very best 100 up. That's Chloe Ant and Aussie Bluff. 520 jumped in. He's on 1,000. You're on top of the leaderboard with 1,370. Corey missed out. He's on 740, and I picked up 229 up to 437. So our chip leader, JC, his very best of the weekend at Wentworth Park is...
Race 3, number 3, Meniketti. He's a dog that won last night over this track and trip in 29.73. That was the personal best effort. Don't see any reason why I can't go on with the job now. I think he's drawn really well here. He's got a noted railer underneath him and secret misses in box 4. She holds her line. I think he'll get plenty of room to operate early, expecting to settle at the very worst outside Toodles Jack. And I think he'll put him away late in the piece. That's race 3, number 3, Meniketti.
The White Rug Punters on Saturday night there at Wenny Park. Race 3, number 3, Meniketti, 100 the win, straight on the snout there. JC, we'll see all of your outstanding work on the social media throughout the course of the weekend. Appreciate your time as always. Have a magnificent weekend. We look forward to seeing you in a couple of years' time there at the office.
No worries, guys. Have a good week.
All the best, mate.
Another massive evening of metropolitan chasing lies ahead at the Meadows on Saturday night. To dissect the card, here's the man with the Melbourne Mail, Corey Smith.
Another of our team members that we were delighted to catch up with last week there in Sydney was Corey Smith. He was signing autographs. We were good enough to grab him for a few moments and catch up with him there at Wentworth Park on $1 Million Chase Night. Corey, welcome to the Jet Set for another week, and thanks for sharing a bit of time with us last Friday night. What an excellent evening it was at Wentworth Park for the $1 Million Chase.
It was a ripping evening. It's always good to get to those sort of events. It's always nice and exciting when anyone wins it, really, but when a Victorian wins it and when it's a young fellow like Josh Formosa and the connections behind the dog as well, it makes it even more exciting, if you ask me. So it was a pleasure to be on course, and even more of a pleasure to have a couple of frothies with you blokes.
Yeah, good to see you last Friday, Corey. You were actually behaving yourself quite well. You're very smooth. I didn't see you throw too many drinks back. You must have had a busy day the next day, did you?
No, it was an early flight back, mate. But when I'm standing next to you and you're knocking them back at a rate of knots, I tend to look a little bit cleaner and a little bit smoother than you, though, Train.
Next time, Corey, in 2 years' time, we've already inked in to go back again. You'll have to stick around with us for the Saturday for the Everest. It was a tremendous race day, and we know you do it incredibly well there in Melbourne with your racing carnival. But you were a bit of a missing link with us there on Saturday. Next time, you're going to have to make sure you stick around for another 24 hours if your system can handle it.
I don't know if my system can handle it, but I'll pencil it in. I did the Everest last year, and I think it's probably an every second year sort of thing doing the backup. So we'll lock it in and we'll have some fun, that's for sure.
Look forward to it. All right, another thing you're very good at is finding winners for us. Let's have a look at this Meadows program. 12 races up for debate on Saturday night. Take us through your key plays.
Yeah, I thought it was a really tough card to try and rip apart. I probably had some issues trying to find a very best that I was super confident in, and that the same goes with a few of the other plays on the program. But I've just got the two best bets for you. I'll give you the very best very shortly. But my other one is race 7, number 6, Raven Peter. Look, this greyhound, I think he's just going to continue to improve. I don't love the draw for him. There's pressure drawn on his outside in 7 with Mr. Easy, but I think there's plenty of improvement in him. And I think if he can navigate that bend start a little bit better than he did last week, then I think he's going to be a great bet at around that $3 plus mark. He's probably more of a black booker than a best bet, but I'm happy to play him this week, and I'm happy to follow him moving forward as well.
All right, Raven Peter gets the nod there. On to your best roughie on the card.
Best roughie, this is it's always a tough task to try and find a roughie in a free-for-all, but this free-for-all is a little bit different. They're mainly grade 4s, and then in the hub is a grade 2. So it's a strange free-for-all, but it's ranked that as is. He's been racing well, and I speak of Billy Intention from box number 2. He's been racing well in grade 5 company. This is a free-for-all, as I touched on, but I think he prefers being at the Meadows. I think he likes the Meadows rather than Sandown Park, and this race has a huge amount of speed in it. My Magic Man off the inside, Fernando Phil, has speed drawn out wide as well. And I think we might just be able to camp it on the rail. And if we can do that, then we might be running a really nice race chiming into it late.
Very nice. Race 8, number 2, Billy Intention, the roughie. Quaddie, races 5, 6, 7 and 8.
Yeah, so I'm going, this will probably give away my best bet of the program, but I'm going 1 out in the first leg of the quaddie. I've got the 1 on top, then I've got 1, 2, 3, 7 and 8 in the second leg. I've got 2, 6, 7 and 8 in the third leg, and then 1, 2, 4 and 8 in the last leg. So $80 for 100%, a little bit of testicular fortitude to go with that first leg of the quaddie.
All right, that would mean that we head to race 5 and put a great big red circle around the red rug here.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to do. Obviously, having a little bit of confidence in this bloke is a tough thing to do, because he can turn it up a little bit. He's probably not all that genuine, but he is certainly the fastest dog in the race, and I think he's going to be able to show it with the map that he's going to get. The 2 likes to push right off the track, and the only speed that the areas in the race, Luke Gatehouse is just pestering me at the moment, so I apologise, but the only speed that's kind of in the race is drawn wide, and I think box number 6 is going to come across to the rail as well. So there might be some absolute carnage, and Lanfranco is just going to be too good for them from the inside. I
actually seen that win last week, Corey. You had to see it to believe it, didn't you? It was a massive run to get up and win.
It was, and Brooke and Jamie Ennis were going to come to the Cox Plate, but they decided that they better go and take Lanfranco to the final on Saturday night, so I'm taking that as a little bit of a push as well. Now,
Kenya All Class went well last night, mate. Just got pipped on the post. Good luck in the Top Gun field. Surely you got a bit of pull there, and you can tip Gatehouse into racking him up for you.
No, he's barred.
Good. Hello, Luke, from your friends here in the West Shayne trainer, David Shortte. We go back many, many years, Luke.
The great Western Australians.
Sandgrapers.
Oh, you're in for quite the weekend, Luke. You're in good hands.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm not going to the Cox Plate.
Goodness me. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm sure you'll be well looked after and you'll have a fine time. And we've already mentioned the Golden Nugget's got your name written all over it, so you'll be able to duck down there and get heavily involved.
No, Shorty, I'm actually staying at the airport, mate. I'm behaving myself.
Oh, cut it out. That doesn't sound like the same Luke Gatehouse I've met from Queensland. Hey, great to have you both on the program, guys. Corey, as always, love your work. Thank you. And Luke, have a wonderful weekend in Melbourne town, and good luck with the upcoming carnival up there in Queensland. We may, if you're lucky, even get you on as a special guest here on the Jet Set as the carnival gets around the corner.
I'd love to be on there, mate.
Good on you guys. Have a ripper weekend. We'll chat again next week, Corey.
Thanks, fellas.
Thanks, boys.
It's time to roll out the red carpet and welcome our local industry VIP guest of the week.
Time to roll out the red carpet for this week. Our VIP industry guest, Jay Jacobson's been good enough to join us. Hello there, Jay. David Shortte and the Shayne train with you. Welcome to the Jet Set.
Thanks for having me, Shorty, and Shane.
Jayden, how are you?
Yeah, good.
You can call him Jumbo. It's okay. It's okay to call him Jumbo. If he's calling you Jayden, you can call him Jumbo. I'm okay with that. Jay, welcome. It's great to have you on the Jet Set podcast. You're one of the fine rising stars within our industry here in WA. You've been involved in the sport for a very long time. I was a youngish man when I was going and opening up the Northern Track many, many years ago now, and you were a very young lady at that particular time, running in and out of the front office and all over the place. At that time, if you'd told me that you would develop into one of our better young trainers in the state, I would have thought, gee, there's a lot of water to pass under the bridge, but that's exactly how things have panned out. Of course, your grandfather, Brian Jacobson, very successful trainer in his own right for a very long period of time, and then a lot of the Sundays that I was going up to Northam, it was your dad, Wayne, that was training an absolute truckload of winners. The Fawn Flyers, as they were known back then. I wrote a pile of stories about them. You've grown up around the Greyhounds, and clearly they've had a lasting effect on you.
Yes, they stuck with me. I got out for a few years and got very bored and very antsy and went straight back in.
Tell us a little bit about that background, though. I know that one thing that certainly was there right the way through with Brian initially, and I met him. He's a very interesting, very colourful character. Those that would have known Brian could certainly attest to that. But he was always a very clever man around a greyhound, and he bred that Acacia Ablaze litter. And I also remember from that litter there was a bitch called Pagan Babe who went across and won for memory a big staying distance event across at Wentworth Park. But Wild West Warrior was another one that springs to mind. There were some really, really talented dogs in that litter.
Yeah, there was even Cyclone Holly. He broke the track record at Northam. And then there were 13 fawns, all fawn in total. And they were, they were around the property until they passed away naturally and of old age. Every one of them pretty much, they stayed. And so I grew up with them because they were born a month after I was born.
Wow. So you had a really good relationship with them, and it must have been quite the thrill. I'm sure there's plenty of photos and stuff and lots of vision of those dogs, because between them, the litter just won an absolute pile of races. There were a lot of meetings that I went up there where they were winning 4, 5, 6 races.
Yeah, they were all just, and the funny thing about that litter is none of them were kennelled. They were free range.
Run their own race.
Yeah, so they'd just kind of load up into the car and off they went to the track, and then they'd come out and jump out, and then they all had their own couch and they'd just sit on the couch and do work as they pleased, pretty much, up the straight track.
Jeez, must be said there was plenty of ability there. They could all really run too. That was the thing. So the breeding obviously really clicked.
Yeah, well, I think they were just an intelligent litter. They kind of knew what their job was. They went to work and come home, and that they were brilliant pets as well as race dogs. They just had the best temperament on them.
Absolutely. Well, that was obviously the start. You were born and that litter was around, and it didn't end there. Of course, Wayne had a lot of success. What was it like growing up in a family where greyhound racing was really a very big priority and a big part of your life?
Busy. Very busy. Everything, all day, every day. It was just dogs. A lot of my sporting kind of took second place to the dogs. So if we had to go to trials, I'd miss training or whatever. But it's kind of come back in full circle now because I'm able to implement that. My dogs come first, and I feel like it makes me, that mindset makes me a better trainer than if I did not have that background.
Absolutely.
But I had dogs. At one point, I think we had 110 dogs on the property between breakers, puppies, and all that. And it was very quiet when I moved to Perth for uni.
I bet it was.
Big adjustment.
Yikes. 110 canines on the property. That would have been an incredibly busy period of your time working with all those dogs. But your love for the dogs is there. And you talk about your time at uni. It's your passion for animals that came to the fore when you were working out what you wanted to do at university as well.
Yeah. I wanted to learn about the blood work kind of side of things, and I was going to go through and I finished my first degree in laboratory pathology and laboratory medicine and zoology, and then I was going in to do the veterinary science surgery section kind of deal, and I thought Lockie was the one that actually dragged me back into dogs again and said, well, why don't we give this a crack? Well, you can go back to uni whenever, and you obviously miss it, so let's just give it a shot. And that's kind of, but uni it was a massive culture shock going from living in the country with so many dogs and so many animals, and then city life, so many people and public transport. We don't have that in Northern.
Very different surrounds, it must be said. But you've adapted incredibly well and you've had great success. And let's give a shout out to Lockie. Of course, he's a wonderful guy. He's a great supporter of yours. He's a big part of the team. And, of course, you were lucky enough to have some success last night with Italian Stallion. I'm sure it's moments like that Lockie gets a real big buzz as well.
Yeah, well, it's actually his dog. It's his first dog that he picked out and he wanted to keep, and because we were only going to have the one out of the litter, and then he fell in love with the strange one, and I said, well, if you want him, you got to talk to Shane about like how we're going to go about getting the second one kind of deal. And he was like, yeah, and he talked to him and everything was discussed, and then that was it. He's a very strange dog, Italian Stallion, and Lockie loves him to bits. And I was just like, why him?
Tell us.
Why did you pick him?
Tell us, he's named after Lockie, isn't he? Tell us why.
Oh, when we were in high school, Lockie and I didn't get along. We actually couldn't stand each other, and he went to school across the other side of town in the private school, and then that ends at year 10. And when he come across in year 11, and he was like head boy of the private school, and all of that kind of. He had a very
now I must have to step in here, Jay. Anybody that knows your family and Brian and Wayne, I'm just thinking in my mind the first meeting between them and Lockie as a private school head boy, I'm thinking would have been a very interesting meeting of the minds.
It was a massive culture shock for Lockie, not for anyone else. But yes, and he used to call himself the Italian Stallion, and I used to call him a loser, and many other colourful language come out of my mouth because of what I thought of him calling himself that. And then Excellent. When the naming come up, he only had 2 names picked out, so I slipped it in there as the third option, and he got it.
I love it. Oh, Train, that's good interception from you to bring that to the table.
Yeah,
very nicely done. Lockie will hate that, but the rest of us love it. Jay, also, just quickly, the other thing, I know you have a real passion before we let the Train let rip on you with his burning questions. The breeding side of things. Rip in Memphis is a bitch that meant a lot to the kennel. You work very closely with her, and she's now had a couple of litters, and I know you've been tested at different times, but really enjoyed the process of rearing a litter and breeding and having her around. And it's shown in her pups. Iconic Jet, of course, is really doing some great things, and I know that that's a side of the industry that you have a great passion for.
Yeah, well, it definitely is. I thoroughly enjoy, like, even though Shane trains Iconic Jet, Rip and Moses and the girls, and other people own them, they're still essentially my dogs. I lay claim to them because it's like you form a connection with them when you spend pretty much every waking hour of the first 3 months, and then you see them come home, and then but she's just such a brilliant mother, so it makes it a lot easier. She loves her babies, and even now, my girl, if she goes for a walk, that El Bandoleros, if she goes for a walk, Lockie will take Memphis and they dance. They know each other. Memphis, they dance at each other. Memphis, you ask Shane, whenever she was ready to rock for race night, she tippy taps and she's up on her tippy toes, and so her daughter does the same thing, and off they go together.
Wow.
So it's pretty cool to see. Like, we watched Memphis go through and do everything great. Now, Buff, Iconic Jet, he's taking the same path, maybe hopefully just a bit better. And my boy as well, when he gets his race fitness and stops being so lazy, he could do anything as well.
Excellent.
I'll tell you what's pretty cool, Shorty. Jay goes up to Northam and really schools the dogs around Northam as you need to. It's a tricky track, but I love the support she gets from her family and her grandparents. They're always there cheering her on, and I think that's great for her.
Big time. Yeah, so Wayne and Brian, they love coming to the track and cheering on nowadays, Jay, and that does mean a bit to me. I've obviously go back some 3 decades almost with the family now from when I was a young fella going to the track. It's great to hear that they're getting along and really supporting you and cheering on your runners. Yes, yeah. I love having Mum and Dad come up, and because he's pretty flat out, but he always tries to knock off work an hour early to come up to watch whoever's running, and and my pop, he's great. No, he's there, and he always offers.
He gives you tips, doesn't he? How to train?
Yeah, he gives me advice, and me and him, we butt heads a lot, but it's always handy. He's got a lot of experience in the game, so it's always worth listening to.
Yeah, absolutely. He was pretty good back in the day. I can vouch for him, and he used to come in and let me know all about it, so don't worry. But that's a great yarn. Well, Jay, it's been so good. We could chat for hours, to be honest. I love your story and your family behind it and how it's all panned out. I know that you've got such a bright future in the years to come. I'm going to handball across now to the train, though. He's come up with these burning questions to round out our VIP industry guest chat today here on the Jet Set with Jay Jacobson.
All right, you walk into a bar. What's your drink order?
Vodka and soda.
Do you have a favourite restaurant you can recommend anyone?
Oh, the Red Cray seafood restaurant.
Where's that?
It's like Rockingham or Belmont.
Yeah, okay. Funniest person in our industry?
Oh, I don't. It depends in what situation. I reckon either Cody Charles, Jamie Marsh, or Joe Daly.
Best or favourite dog you've trained?
It'd have to be Eugene. Eugenius.
Favourite holiday destination? You have plenty of them.
Probably Gladstone Station, Shark Bay.
Shark Bay. Celebrity crush? Hopefully Lockie's not listening.
Oh, no, he doesn't. I don't know.
Reece Walsh. Reece Walsh.
Johnny Depp.
What about Reece Walsh?
Oh, yeah, Reece Walsh. Yeah.
Biggest win? I know this one.
I'd be the Keith Harding.
Hobbies outside of racing?
Fishing.
Favourite track? Doesn't have to be in WA.
Probably Northam because it's home.
Yep. 3 people you would choose to be stuck on a deserted island with in our industry.
Oh, probably Adam, Shantae. Does Lockie count? I suppose I have to include him, don't I?
The Italian stallion gets a mention. We tick him off. Oh, that's a classic. I can't wait to see him next time and catch up. Hey, Jay, that's a wonderful one to finish off on. Thank you so much for taking the time to join myself and the train today. Continued success to yourself and Lockie and all your dogs heading forward. All the best.
All right, thank you very much for having me.
Thanks,
See you
David.
later.
Thanks.
On the TABtouch Greyhound Jet Set, here are the Darwin tips with Bones Harmon.
Darwin chasing on Sunday. It's time to catch up with Bones Harmon and find out the few winners for the big program there on Sunday. G'day, Bonesy.
G'day, boys. Welcome back to Perth.
Good to be back, Bonesy. Struggle Street here, but I think next week we'll be back to normal.
Yeah, no doubt Overeast is struggling more than you are after you blokes went in there and tore them apart. So good to have you back.
Big 9 racer to look forward to on Sunday there at Winnelly Park. Take us through your key plays.
Alrighty. Look, it's a pretty decent card, and I struggled to find a lot of really good bets. They're pretty even fields, but that's a good sign up in Darwin. Means there won't be too many shorties floating around. But we'll start off with race 4, number 1. We'll go with Rex on Fire. Rex is he's a pretty decent dog. He's got a good record. I think he's won about 9 from 20, working his way through the grades. And last couple, he jumped up into a couple of harder races, but he's dropped back to a grade 5 here. Good starter, gets box 1, and realistically, no real excuses for Rexy from box 1 this week. So we'll go with him as our first bet.
All right, the first of them, race number 1, Rex on Fire. Second play?
Second play, race 8, number 6, Flip Your 50. Now, it wasn't long ago that Flip Your 50 was 25 metres away from winning the Darwin Cup. And since then, he's had a little bit of a tough run. He's stopped jumping quite as well up in the top grade, and with some new dogs in town, they've sort of shown him up a little bit, but he drops all the way back to a grade 4 here, and only needs a little bit of room to wind up, and he'll put all of these to bed. There's good pace inside from Black Iron and Stupefy. So if he avoids the 7 and 8 early, he's a much better dog than the rest of these. Hoping we can get about $1.60 to $1.80 on Flip Your 50 for that race. And if it's shorter, I'd chuck him in a multi or two.
Have nightmares from the Darwin Cup there, Bonesy. Got shot by the sniper.
Yeah, still got PTSD, and he hasn't been the same since then.
Is there any more, mate, for Darwin?
Yep, last one. We'll go with race 9, number 1, Mojo Max. Now, Mojo's a couple of run backs from a fall, and he hasn't been wonderful, but he's boxed to win this one in a pretty moderate wind, and moderate lineup, I should say. We'll save on the Quinella here with my mate Glenn in box. I think he's in box 4. He's in the middle somewhere. He's been running really consistently, and I'd hate to lose to my mate Glenn. So we'll go with Quinella with him, but we'll go with Mojo Max on top.
All right, so 1 on top, Mojo Max, 1 and 4, the Quinella there in race number 9. Bonesy, appreciate your time as always here on the Jet Set. Have a ripper weekend.
Thank you, boys. Enjoy your weekend, and good luck on the punt.
Thanks, mate.
It's time to get the inside word from some of the most successful kennels in WA. Here's this week's Kennel Mail.
Time now for the Kennel Mail for another week here on the Jet Set. Our man Lukey Townsend's been good enough to fire through the best from the house kennel for this weekend. G'day, Shorty. Tips for the weekend tonight. Race 7, number 2, West on Kaiser. Going very well at the moment and drawn well again tonight to be in the money. Then on Saturday night, race 8, number 1, Tweak Freak. Had no luck at all last week in a heat of the All-Stars, but looks well drawn and well suited. Back in grade 5 company. Hopefully have a bit more luck. So tonight, Mandurah 7-2, West on Kaiser, and Saturday night, Tweak Freak. That is race 8, number 1. Thank you to Lukey Townsend for his thoughts for another busy weekend. And we've also got one of the Credelli brothers has been good enough to fire through their thoughts for a busy weekend of chasing. This time it's Grazer. He was onto this nice and early too. It's always a good sign when Grazer's up and about nice and early. He sent these through 6:30 last night. Good on you, Grazer. Friday night, race 4, number 7, What a Ripper. Always a chance, this bloke, and you can't ignore his stats from the box. We'll go close each way. That's race 4, number 7, What a Ripper. And race 9, number 4, Fidel Pronto. Just needs a little luck early, and he can win this each way. So 4-7-9-4, Friday night at Mandurah. Saturday night, Mandurah. Race 6, number 5, Disco Trixie. Will go very close in this lineup, just needs to step. And then deeper into the night, race 10, number 4, Chloe Ant. Needs to step and cross the 2 dog. From there, should not be getting run down. So a bit of confidence with Chloe Ant to return to the winners list. That's race 10, number 4, Saturday night, to go along with race 6, number 5, Disco Trixie. My racing multi for this weekend, throwing in one that will be cheering particularly hard for Keshi Boom, our girl there on Saturday out there at Ascot. That's race 9, number 7. Prior to that, I like the prospects of race 8, number 5, West Star, and to Moonee Valley on Cox Plate Day, race 5, number 4, one for the Ted Bullpit fans, Kingswood. Race 5, number 4 there at Moonee Valley. So in recap, Shorty's racing multi for this weekend, race 5, number 4, Kingswood the win. Ascot Saturday, race 8, number 5, West Star. Ascot Saturday, race 9, number 7, Keshi Boom. Roll the 3 together, $20.16. If you take that multi on the fixed odds with TABtouch, if we get 2 out of the 3 legs, win, but miss the third, money back up to $50. Good luck if you are playing along at home with our racing multi for this week. Train, have you got any scraps for the punters this week?
Yeah, got a couple of leftovers, Shorty, tonight at Geelong. Race 5, number 8, Boracay Storm, fresh off the Bendigo Cup win. He did have a start since and runs second. David Gill trains this dog. I think it'd be hard to beat, around about the even money. Race 5, number 8. And then I'm going to Reelmick tomorrow for one bet, Shorty. Race 7, number 3, Henline, trained by the Freedmans. Very eye-catching 2 back. And then they had his first run around the Sydney way going last week, got a bit lost. Extra distance is much suited, and I really hope he hits the line, Shorty, and backs up next week in the Derby, because I'm on him at a big price pre-post. But it's unlikely, but we'll get him tomorrow's race 7, number 3, Henline.
And great to see our man Joey Pride. He saved the day for me last week. Train, I can tell you, Friday night didn't go well for me on the punt, but when he got Lekvart and Chelwolf to arrive along with Bella Nipotina, it went from boiled lolly sucking on a few of the soothers to absolute strawberries and cream late in the piece. So very nice. Thank you, Joey Pride.
Red
we
Frogs.
love you more. Red Frogs, they were there as well. Absolutely.
Great to see, think about it, get up and walk off, Shorty, as well. Look very nasty. And I seen a video today. He's been retired. He's been one of my favourite horses out of that stable. Caught him very early on in his career and won a lot of money. So great to see him get up and walk off on Everest Day.
Indeed. For me, very best for the weekend punters. Race 4, number 2, Impress Wilder, the win. Into race 12, number 1, Transcendent, the win. 4-2, 12-1, the win. For me, very best. What about you, Train?
Yeah, my very best. I'm making it tonight. Race 6, number 3, Aston Bollinger, 100 wins, Shorty. Just like the way he's going straight to the top and improve your margin. KT Charles.
Race 6, number 3, Friday night for the Train. For me, Saturday night, 4-2, 12-1 as the double. There we have it, our very best for the weekend. Have you got a gag for us?
No gags. The only gags I had was 7-day-old banana bread, but we've already used that one.
Indeed, and that was with our man, a bit of rock cake where our man
Group
there,
1,
Gilbster. Now, a grandfather has gone missing after eating 4 cans of baked beans, 2 cauliflowers, a jar of gherkins, and a bag full of dried apricots. His family have made an emotional appeal for him to not come home for at least a fortnight. And don't be lighting any cigarette lighters in the region that man's in either, as it could well send the world into another orbit.
He delivered that a bit better this afternoon than what he did this morning.
Well,
you're in a lot of laughter.
I just had a picture in my mind of exactly what that room might have been in that poor old Papa was in, dropping that around. So, indeed, hopefully that's put a smile on your dial for this upcoming weekend. Thank you all very much for your company on the Jet Set podcast for this week. We do appreciate it very much. We'll be back probably in sharper touch next week, but big thanks to all of our friends that looked after us in New South Wales, and indeed to all of our Jet Set family for your company for this week. We'll be back again next week, same bat time, Sat Bat channel. Until then, many winners, punters.
Thank you for joining us for this week's edition of the TABtouch Greyhound Jet Set. Be sure to share and retweet the show to help grow our community. Into 'em, punters.
What are you really gambling with? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.